And hello there, Dental Nachos Nation. Terry Brock here, and welcome to another edition of Talking Tech Tips with Terry, Tuesday at 2. It is now 2 o'clock in the Eastern Time Zone, and I welcome you on board. We're having some fun today and learning a lot, and I really am looking forward to helping you to understand more about technology in some practical ways. And matter of fact, as we shift and roll with the punches, because that's what we always have to do. Hey, in the dental world, you have to do that, and in many other places, we have to do it regularly. So that's what we do on a regular basis here. And at Dental Nachos, we're going with our affectionately called Dr. Nachos himself, Paul Goodman, DMD, and he helps us to understand how to live life and how to be successful in your dental practice. Now, I'm not a dentist, but I am glad to be able to help out where I can. And here we talk about technology and what's happening. If you saw the promo, you know we were prepared today to talk with the one and only William Glass. And William Glass is a whiz in computers and particularly in marketing and marketing dental practices. Real honor to have him, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to join us today. That's okay. We're going to get him a little bit later. We're going to just move it, but he's going through inclement weather. I mean, that kind of thing we can all relate to. Matter of fact, last week, I had a major presentation ready to go, everything practiced, we did all the hassle and all the things, and I was on the road up in Atlanta. I'm here in Orlando today, but I was up in Atlanta. We were taking care of some business there. Gina, my partner, and I, we were doing that. And 1 hour before we were scheduled to go on for a big webinar, 500 people ready to come and listen and learn what I was going to talk about for a new client there. And guess what? We lost internet access, just completely went down. And our hotspot would not work either, so we couldn't go there. So we just scrambled real fast. Gina came up with some ideas of people that she knew in the area that had a cafe and rented a few rooms with internet access. Bingo. So we just grabbed everything, ran over, got it set up, and it worked out. William's going through a similar thing today where there's no, the power's going on and off. Internet is just really crummy and all that. Hey, we've all been there in that. So, William, if you're watching this on the recording, we appreciate you. We completely understand, and no problem at all. We will look forward to getting you back. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change a little bit and do some other things today that are kind of fun as well. What I'm going to look at is, as we're talking tech tips with Terry, I took some notes down here. Always have a plan B, by the way. And what we're going to do is going to talk about some of my productivity tips of what I'm using and how I'm doing this. And if you've got comments, if you're catching this live, by all means, leave me a comment there on whatever platform you're getting this on. We are using Restream right now and going out to many different places. With Restream, you can access up to 30 different destinations all at the same time. As I like to say, not only all at the same time, but also simultaneously. Yeah, you get both, okay? Work with me on that, okay? But it's one of those things where we get a chance to get out there and send the message out in many different places. And so what I'm going to do is, as we're using that, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment, and if you're getting this in the recording, which is where most people will see it, leave a comment there. We monitor these closely, and we go back and can respond to you to help you answering your questions and helping you answering your comments if you have some of those as well, and we'll go from there. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using Ecamm for this, and it's going into Restream. So I take this signal, and that way it gives me the ability. I'm going behind the scenes right now to show you. See all these graphics that I might bring in? This is part of Ecamm, and it gives the ability to make that kind of nice. I can put that in there, bring in a graphic here, and it gives me the ability to do that. All I do is just press a key, and there it goes. It comes in or goes out, and I can control that very easily. This is a tool I'd recommend that you look into if you're doing a lot of webinars, if you're doing a lot of presentations with it. Something like that can really help. Now, another tool that I'm using right now extensively, and I've had some changes in the last few weeks that I'm loving. Like you, I've got all kinds of notes and things going on. I've got meetings that are happening. I've got educational seminars I'm going to. I've got personal thoughts and ideas. What do I do? Ooh, that's a good idea. Let me write that down. And so I've done it before. I don't know if you can relate to this. Put it on paper, and oh yeah, by golly, that sure works, does it? We put it on paper and everything, and I'll store that in a good place. Yeah, right. And then you get it somewhere and you don't see it, or it gets lost, or whatever, and it's a mess. So I thought I got to do something different. So what I'm doing now is I'm using my Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G. By the way, that's a mouthful to say what that is. Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G. And it's all that. Bottom line is, it's really good. And what I can do is I can use these notes that are here and use the S Pen. This comes with it, so I can take notes. Notice what it's showing me right now, that I can create some notes, I can view the notes, etc., and other little things here. Well, I don't need that, but what I can do is go in and bring up some notes so that you can see some of the ways I've done that. The notes that are here, some communication records, and I can look at other tools there and write on the screen with this. So if you want to do handwriting, you can do it that way. And I can type on it as well. Here's how I do that. Went over and got a nice Bluetooth keyboard. Look, folding out. There it is. That's kind of nice. Fold it like this. It's even got a little nice mouse pad on there that I can use. And so I can take notes that way, because sometimes you can do other input. I like to do voice dictation. Those at Dental Nachos know me. I'm always talking about, hey, let's use the let's use that voice dictation, because you can talk faster than you can type or write. But sometimes talking is not appropriate. For instance, if you're in a group meeting, in person, we're getting a few more of those now. In person, you can't always do that. So using the keyboard is another nice way to take notes. So that way, I've got records of meetings, of training sessions I went to, of thoughts and ideas. So if I get a great idea, like, oh, hey, that's good, I can record it. Because I don't know if you can relate to this, but sometimes you might get an idea and then you think, oh, I'll remember that one. Yeah, by golly, I'll remember it. Yeah, and then we don't. We're going, what was that note? I forget. I was going to write it down, and you didn't. So use your mouth. Talk into these devices. Now, I'm using this. I also will use my iPhone. So I've got an iPhone as well, an iPhone 11 that I love as well. And I'm using both of them. And matter of fact, that's another good thing to have, is have those backups. I'll tell you why on that in just a moment. But with this, I'm using it for input. And I was looking at what we're doing in many different ways and how we're using it for voice input, for handwriting, and I'm using it for, even sometimes you can peck on the screen. You know, they show you a little keyboard and you can peck on that. That's really slow. We know that can really slow you down. But on the notes, I can bring in pictures. I can record an audio right there that will be there for that note. I can also use video, shoot some video and bring it in. It gives you the ability to really document your life, and that is nice. Documenting your life, keeping everything in one place, so now I don't have to wonder, gee, where's that piece of paper for the meeting I had? I've got it all right here, literally in the palm of my hand. I've got this here, and the nice thing about the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, it not only has all of this capability, but it also takes an SD card. That's nice. An SD card you can put in there. I'm using one that's like 120 gigabytes. That's nice. I might need to expand up to 256 or 512. And they even have some 1 terabyte drives that you can put in here, an SD card. Think about that. You get a chance to put all that in there and let it work really, really well. So that's something I would recommend you look into, see the possibilities for it, see what could happen and how you could use that. And that is one of the great tools we have. And by the way, talking about tools today is very appropriate, because today, as many of you know, is a very special day. Only comes once a year. Today is the 4th. That's right, it's the 4th of May. Oh yes, it's Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And many of us know that. And those of us that love Star Wars like to do it. I like to see that. And the technology there, I grew up on that. Actually, I was more of a Star Trek guy than a Star Wars guy. But I love Star Wars, too. I love them both. But we use that technology. And the technology that we're using today, like these little communicators here, are the kind that we saw a flip phone thing in Star Trek, in the original. They would use that for a communicator. I had a chance once to talk to Majel Barrett. She was Gene Roddenberry's wife. Gene Roddenberry, the founder and the creator of Star Trek. And Majel Barrett also played characters in Star Trek herself. They were both accomplished actors, and they were both very, very bright people. But she told a story to me once when I was, as a reporter, covering it with several others, but she was talking to just about 2 or 3 of us, that she and Gene went over to the Jet Propulsion Labs. And they told Gene Roddenberry and Majel Barrett that their ideas for coming up with ideas for these phones and many of the things we're using came from Star Trek. They talked it there. So the way that we can do that, as we stretch our minds and learn and grow, we can do a lot more. So these tools, this one that I've got here for taking notes, I highly recommend. Another tool that I use is my iPad. I've got my iPad over there, and I've got the 11-inch iPad. I really like it a lot, and I use it for specific things. It's good for reading. Now, I use a lot of reading on my Kindle on this here, but I also use it on my iPad. A little bit bigger, makes it a little bit easier to read. And the nice thing about it, because they're all in the same account, and Amazon lets us have up to 5 devices active, it syncs. So when I read, for instance, my Daily Stoic, every day, got a little short reading on that, it updates it whether I'm using it on this phone or on my iPad. Real handy. And another thing, by the way, using the iPad is really good for using it with Keynote. Kind of like PowerPoint, but using Keynote over here on the Mac side. And it gives us the ability to interface with that and with Ecamm. I can move things around and get a little more colorful and a little more productive presentation when I'm putting those together. They really are handy. So I'd recommend looking into that. And then, see, in the iPhone and Android, by the way, they're both important. Today, I shot my video talking about the one that we hope to have, which was, we're hoping to have William Glass, but like I said, William is not with us now only because of the weather, and he got shut down as well. But he'll be in a little bit later. We're thinking next week, or we'll see what happens from there. But when I shot that, I had a problem sending my Big View presentation on this. It wasn't the problem with mine. They told me they had a problem with the latest update that came on Android, and it threw a bunch of Android devices off. So those things are going to happen. This kind of thing happens when you're working with technology, and so we just kind of roll with the punches and make it happen. Got a comment here from George. Says, hi, Terry, great stuff. I personally use iPad Pro. Notability, yeah, I've heard of Notability, real good. Or Apple Notes for a quick note. Received LinkedIn Live notification that you were on and thought I would jump in and say hello. May the 4th be with you. Yes, indeed, George, we appreciate that. And yes, it is May the 4th, and we're celebrating that right now big time over there on LinkedIn Live. Nice thing about using Restream, we can be on LinkedIn Live and on Facebook and on Twitter and on YouTube all at the same time. Really handy. And got another comment here from Billy. I told Terry that I only had airplanes, not space travel spaceships. Thanks for the tech tips. Good recovery presentation. Well, thank you, Billy. I appreciate you. Billy's down there in Louisiana, and great man, a great professional speaker as well. And I appreciate you coming in. So those are some of the tools that I use. And then also using the iPhone and Android is good, because here's what happened. I couldn't get my must-have video that I really like to do on here. I like to do it on the Android because I get a lot more capability with it. But then the iPhone did work. So I switched over and used my iPhone. I was able to get it done, it worked beautifully, sent it up to the cloud, did the editing, and it's there on the Dental Nachos site. So you can see that and see what it is. The moral of the story is have a plan B and maybe a plan C and D for those real important things in life. Make sure that you can adapt and adjust. Make sure that you can say, okay, I'll roll with the punches on this. And when those things happen, whatever the stuff is that's going to happen, well, we adapt. We adjust. I think the Marines say it really well. The United States Marine Corps says, improvise, adapt, and overcome. And that's what we'll do. So get the tools, figure out how to use them, and practice for those inevitable emergencies that are going to happen. The lazy people are the ones that'll say, oh, I don't have to do that. I know it'll work. And often they're right, but it's when you have the, oh, whoops. I'll use that term. There's some more colorful military expressions, though, that we can think of. But we'll say when you have that, oh, whoops, then what you want to do is be able to say, okay, well, we're going to this plan. And if that doesn't work, we go to this plan. And have many different plans that you can use. That way, you're adaptable. You adjust no matter what happens. You're able to adjust that, roll with the punches, and make it come through. So I would recommend looking into some of the tools, experiment with them, and find out what works for you. One of my heroes is a man who lived over a century ago, Andrew Carnegie. People will call him sometimes Andrew Carnegie. Well, it was actually Carnegie because he was Scottish and that's the way they pronounce it. But Andrew Carnegie would go out and he would experiment with technology. He would try it. He'd invest money, lots of money, and many of the technologies that he bought just didn't work. They tried it and it fell apart. Tried it again, that didn't work, but then he kept trying until he found what was right. And he made a fortune both in the railroad business and in the steel business. And he was able to become the richest man in the world. Matter of fact, in 1904, uh, J.P. Morgan gave him a check for $400 million. Hey, that was a lot of money back then. Yeah, it's still a lot of money right now, too. But anyway, they gave him that, and he says, now, congratulations, Mr. Carnegie, you are the richest man in the world. But what he did is he kept adapting. He kept adjusting, and he would alter what he did based on the results. Watch for the results. Matter of fact, that's another thing that Andrew Carnegie said. He says, as I get older, I pay more attention to what people do than what they say. And I thought, okay, that makes sense. So we can learn from that. So today, I would suggest for you, think about how you can bolster and have plan B, C, and maybe even a plan D or more for those most important items and tasks that you need to do. Plan on what could happen. Plan on it and have an escape route for how to get around it. Bear Bryant, the famous football coach in Alabama, University of Alabama, was famous for his plan B, C, and D, always having alternates. He had all kinds of ideas. If this happened, they'd do this. If this happened, they'd have that. He would have a myriad of those, hundreds of them, ready to roll and ready to move at any time. And so that's what we want to do as well. And here at Dental Nachos, that's some of the things that we do. Dr. Paul Goodman teaches us that, and we learn to do whatever is necessary to get the job done, but always JBN, as he says, just be nice. JBN. So I want to thank you very much for joining me today. Please leave a comment below. Look forward to hearing from you, whether you're getting this on LinkedIn, over on Facebook, over on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever you're getting this, or any of the various groups or places within Facebook. We've got a few places and locations we're going on there using Restream. Restream is the tool. Matter of fact, let me see if I can be really techie here. I can do it. I think we got it somewhere. There's a Restream. There it is. Restream. It is. And there's, by the way, the Bitly My Affiliate link. You put that in there, bit.ly Restream for you, and you'll get $10 credit. We'll get a couple of coins on that as well. And you'll be able to do that over at Restream.io. But you go ahead and type in the bit.ly/Restream for you, and you'll find that it's got some real good stuff there for you. So, and also, by the way, can't let you get away without giving you a real treasure. Here is a tool, Supreme. Text that to 215-543-6454. And you will get some of the most incredible training for dentists out there. Dr. Paul Goodman has put that together along with many other dentists that have worked with him to address needs in the clinical area, also in practice management, as well as getting along and communicating with patients and with others. That is really, really important. So those kind of tools can help you enormously. And I'd recommend that you tie into that. Look at Supreme 215-543-6454. And by the way, speaking of Dr. Nachos, there he is. Hey, Paul, good to have you with us today, sir. Glad you do. I put you there. Paul, I'm putting your comment right there with the text Supreme. And what a good place to be with Supreme. And if you haven't looked into Supreme, everyone, that's something you want to take a look at and find out what's going on and how it works. Because Supreme has some real bargains for you for getting not only access to all kinds of training, but also a community of fellow dentists that can help you to solve the problems that you do as a dentisting human, as Dr. Paul Goodman says. So be sure and text that to Supreme. You're going to see a lot of good stuff you can get for free, as well as some that you can get for just incredible bargains that you'll drop your jaw going, that's amazing. Yes, of course I got to get it. And you're able to invest in yourself in many different dimensions, for clinical, as well as your personal growth, as well as for building your team around you as well. So we've got a lot of good things there happening, and today is fun. Here, let me get past that one. Just a minute here. Here we go, and I'll click over here. There we are. There we are. So I'm Terry Brock, your Marketing and Communications Advisor here at Dental Nachos. I appreciate you being with us today, and we're looking forward to seeing William Glass when he's able to be here. And William, when you watch this, just know we love you, and we all completely understand what it's like when you're hit with colossal bad weather, with electrical storms and losing, there's not much you can do. So we're with you. We're high-fiving you across the miles, William, and looking forward to seeing you a little bit later. And those of you watching this, we look forward to seeing you and talking with you a little bit later.